Facebook and Instagram owner Meta said on Tuesday that it's scrapping its third-party fact-checking program and replacing it with a community notes program written by users.
So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our.
Starting in the U.S., Meta will end its fact-checking program with independent third parties because expert fact-checkers had their own biases and too much content ended up being fact-checked. The Consumer Choice Center's Yael Ossowski has more on the significance of the announcement and why it's limited to the United States.
So what this means is that there will no longer be this kind of third-party fact-checking regime that existed on different Meta platforms, whether it was Facebook or Threads or even Instagram. And instead of having people who will be physically working on content moderation, you're going to go to a community notes model where if people do see something that might be false or something that would go against community standards, people are able to add a kind of addendum to it, a note. And in that, people can vote on it. And in a way, this is a way that you can actually give people more free speech. You're not having these concise rules that kick people off or perhaps have users, their accounts suspended because they said something wrong or because the discourse went a certain way. So it's actually a very interesting move by Meta and just shows that we're kind of in a more free speech era. And the influence of Elon Musk and Donald Trump has really changed a lot of stuff in Silicon Valley and really in all tech companies. If we look at the other places in the world, there's just not going to be any way to do this without breaking the rules. The laws that exist right now in the European Union, either through the Digital Single Markets Act or the Digital Markets Authority, you're not going to have the ability to get rid of these moderation teams. These are actually required, particularly in Europe and also in some other countries. So while the community notes model will work very well in the United States, is very congruent to the US system, if you were to do that in a place like the European Union or even Canada with some different legislation that has been discussed, you would not be able to do so. So that's why the focus on this right now is the United States, but hopefully, we'll see a big change across the world that will allow a bit freer speech online, and at least Meta is taking a good first step.